DreAllDay.com.
Alright, so we're going to get into this left hand workout. I'm going to go through this entire circuit here without using my right hand at all. Everything's going to be done with my left hand. I'm a right-handed player, so for all you players, if you're right-handed or you're left-handed, of course, you just switch it. This is a complete circuit of drills you can do to work on your non-dominant hand. You want to make that hand better. You're starting out with some ball handling, dribbling it low, ankle height dribble. Now what I'm on right now is the higher dribble, about knee high to hip height / waist height bounce. So you're just working on controlling that dribble, of course, keeping your eyes and your head up so you can see the floor if you need to make a pass. Now we're going into the high dribbles. I'm going to dribble about 5 times high, and then I'm going to dribble about 5 times low. So it's 5 high, then 5 low, 5 high, 5 low. Of course, with all dribbling drills, you want to keep your eyes up, keep your head up. Make sure you see the floor. So if there's an opportunity for you to attack or pass, you're ready to take advantage of it. Next, going into the in and out dribble. Just keeping that dribble tight. When you're doing this drill, you're going to feel that burn in your forearm, maybe in your shoulder and also in your fingers. But if you fight through that burn, then eventually your body gets used to fighting through it. And this is with any workout, any part of a workout. Your body gets used to fighting through it, and it increases its capacity. So the next time that level is normal, you can go higher and higher. Next one I'm doing is the windshield wiper dribble. So it's a similar movement to the in and out, except it's 2 bounces. Instead of 1 bounce coming around in a circular motion, it's 2 bounces going up and down in a V motion, bouncing at 1 point. Next I'm going with the one hand under dribble. You see I'm dribbling this around right above my left knee. So I'm grabbing it with the left hand, and you got to quickly bring it around. I'm not palming the ball. I'm not picking it up. As if I was to pick it up and bounce it again, then it'd be kind of like I'm carrying the basketball. So I'm grabbing it with that left hand, in that split second that that ball stays in my hand without me having to turn my palm up towards the ceiling, I'm getting it right out of my hand again, going under that leg. So this is the one hand under dribble. I'm going under the leg with one hand. That's the simple reason why I call it what I call it. Next bounce here, I'm just going to go back and forth under one leg with the left hand. So I'm keeping the ball, if you watch the way it's bouncing, it's not really bouncing under the center line of my body, because that is too far of a distance to travel, and it also makes it harder because I would have to reach further with my arm to get to the ball. I'm kind of dribbling the ball under, it's bouncing kind of under my thigh or under the knee, depending on how wide you set your feet when you're doing this drill. So it's one hand under the leg, then I'm grabbing it behind my back and dribbling it back to in front of me. So I'm really just tapping the ball back and forth. I'm not really grabbing it much, not taking total control of it. I'm just controlling the bounce, controlling the traveling distance and the location of the ball. This dribble here is similar to the one hand under, but it's going backwards. So I call this the back through dribble. So it's kind of like a through the legs bounce, but instead of going from in front of you to behind you, is coming from behind you to in front of you. So I'm grabbing that ball. You see the path that the ball's traveling once I pick it up. It's kind of going right over my knee, right around the lower or mid thigh area, and I'm dropping it back off and getting it back around. So it's really just the turning and the twisting of the wrist that controls this movement when I'm doing this drill. You just got to turn your wrist over quickly. This last one, this last stationary bounce here, is what I call the walking the dog dribble. So it's just like you got a dog on a leash, you got him right there on your hip, and you're just walking it back and forth. You see how I'm turning my wrist. My wrist turns from, on my hand, you can see the back of my hand, then you're seeing the palm of my hand. Maybe not in that speed, but that's all it is. Now I'm going to a full court movement. This is the in and out dribble. So I'm just going to dribble down the floor and dribble back up the floor. I'm not going to touch the ball at all with my right hand. If I was to lose the dribble at any point, then I'm going to just go back to the line that I started at and restart this drill. So the first one is the in and out dribble. Next dribble I'm doing is the windshield wiper. So it's kind of like a V. So you make a point right in front of my left foot. That's going to be the bottom. Like if you write out the letter V, it comes down to a point, then it goes back up. So it's just going down and back up at that exact same point. 2 dribbles. One dribble goes in, and the next dribble goes out. I'm just going full court. This next bounce is the walking the dog dribble. here you can see I'm pushing that ball forward with my palm facing forward, and then I'm going to grab it and push that ball backward with my palm facing behind me. So it's just, like I said before in the stationary drill, it's just like you walking the dog. You got the dog on the side of you, push it forward, push it backward. Next full court dribble, I'm just doing a one hand under now. You see, it's really, when you're doing that one hand under or the back through dribble, it's really just about turning the wrist over as quickly as possible. So once you catch that ball, your palm is facing toward in front of you, even though it's behind your leg. And then you want to twist it around. It's kind of like a 180-degree turn. So you have your palm facing the front of you, and as you get it around your leg, it's facing towards your body, and as you dribble it and it goes through your leg, it's facing behind you. So you're just turning that wrist over really quickly with the one hand under dribble. I have a tutorial on the one hand under in my ball handling playlist if you need to work on it in more detail. Next one is the back and forth here. So I'm going one hand, just dribbling under that leg. If you notice the bounce, I'm trying to keep it as close to my left leg as possible. I don't want it to go straight under the center line of my body because that's too far for me to have to reach. And it's also too far for the ball to have to travel. So I want to kind of bounce it. There was a straight line going down from my knee to the floor. I want that ball to bounce right under that line, so it's getting really close to my left foot. Which you might bounce the ball with your foot a couple times when you're working on this drill, but that's okay. That's why it's practice. So it's okay to mess up in practice. That's where you work all the kinks out. So then when you get into a live situation, you're able to do the things that you practice without having to think about it. It's just straight up muscle memory. Next full court drill, I'm just going around the back. So I'm taking one little rhythm dribble in front of me. I'm going to dribble it around my back. You see I'm just sliding my right foot over to give me space to dribble that ball in between. Not in between, but to the side of my right hip. The arm is only but so long, and depending on the speed you're going, depends on how far and how fast you can get that ball around you. If I was going at more of a full speed, I wouldn't be able to get as many dribbles in, but I could wrap that ball more fully around my body and kind of push it in front of me so that I'm kind of moving with speed to pick it up. But I'm not really doing this for the speed. I'm doing this just to work on the handle with my hand, work on the handling of the ball with my left hand. Next thing is get that ball up against the wall, some wall bounces, just using the fingers. And you see that when you bounce the ball up against the wall, it's coming right back to you. So you don't really have a lot of time to gather it, do anything extra. Just letting your fingers let that ball bounce, bounce, bounce. You're not really thinking about it, because if you start thinking about it, you'll mess up on that. Then I'm going to throw a couple behind the back passes. I'm just using my left hand only. I'm not touching the ball with my right hand. Throw it around at an angle so that it comes back to the front of my body and not to behind me. Try to hit the same spot as much as you can. In a game, you're going to maybe get 1 or 2 chances to throw a pass like this in a game. If you work on it, you'll be able to throw it without having to think about it. So a few behind the back passes here. Now I'm going to get up right under the basket, and I'm going to do some taps here. So I'm throwing the ball off the backboard, then I'm going to jump, catch it in the air, and tap it back up. You can do this set number of times, 10 times, 15 times. I think I did this 15 or 20 times, and on the last one, you just want to grab it and put it in the basket, lay it up on the left-hand side. Now I'm going to stand under the basket, looking up at it, and I'm going to make some layups on the left-hand side as I'm reaching my left hand around and finishing. And then what I'm going to do is go in the other direction and finish on the right-hand side. Now what I'm doing is I'm reaching across my body with the left hand, and I'm going to finish on the right hand side. So it's kind of like using that English. I put out a tutorial about a month ago on using the English on a reverse layup, which is putting a certain spin on the ball so that when it gets up on the backboard, it moves in a direction instead of you having to place it perfectly, because your body's not always going to be in the right position to get the basic layup. You got to use that English to get it spinning, work the angles of the backboard to get that layup to drop in. So that's all I'm doing when I'm turning this direction. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to add a little bit of a jump. So I'm going to jump off my right foot and make those layups on the left side of the basket. And now I'm going to jump off the right foot with the left hand still, and I'm going to make those layups on the right side of the basket. So you see I'm just using the extending my arm as much as possible to improve the angle, and then adding a little bit of spin as necessary. It's really not something you plan. It's just a touch you got to make. So when you're in a game and you go up to finish, you don't really know all the time until that last exact split second what kind of touch you're going to need to finish. So you just got to practice it so you can do it without thinking. Now I'm going to just do 5 spots. Short shots. This is like right outside of the lane. We would say this is about between 7 and 9 feet from the basket. Just making about 4 or 5 shots from each spot. 5 spots. Left hand only again. Working on the touch around the basket. I don't like to miss shots when I'm this close to the basket, even though it's not exactly a layup. It's a shot you want to be able to make because it's pretty close in. You get this close to the basket, you want to be able to convert. So I'm going around these 5 spots, just hitting these shots with the left hand, working on the touch and finishing, so that when I'm in a live situation, I can use my right hand, or I can use my left hand to finish, or I'm at least going to try it because I've been working on the touch. And the more you work on it without thinking about it, the more you force yourself to just do it without really thinking about it, when you get into a game, you'll find yourself doing stuff without planning it, and you may even surprise yourself that you start using your left hand more often. Now I'm going to go into a couple of moves, starting with the in and out dribble. So I'm going to take it in and out, 2 steps, left foot, right foot, go up with the left hand and finish. Notice from the part that I'm gathering the ball, after I do the actual in and out dribble and I'm picking up the ball to lay it up, I'm not palming it, because I hear a lot of people, a lot of players, they make excuses. They say, well, I can't palm the ball, I have small hands, what can I do? I'm not palming the ball here, so the size of my hand is not giving me any advantage in doing this. All I'm doing is gathering it, I'm scooping it up. I can have my palm facing the ceiling and kind of pick the ball up because I'm not dribbling anymore, so I don't have to worry about keeping it a certain way for a live dribble. Then I'm going into a windshield dribble here. 2 dribbles, 1 in, 1 out, and finishing. Next thing I'm going to do is a quick little stutter step dribble, which is kind of similar to an in and out, but what I'm doing is stuttering my feet more. So I'm kind of chopping up my steps. I want to get that defender guessing as to what I'm about to do. Am I about to shoot? Am I going to pull up for a jump shot? Am I going to try to do a change of direction move? Am I just stopping, period, maybe passing the ball? I use that stutter step to kind of get them guessing, then I go. Here I'm doing a stop and go, hesitation, retreat, attack move. So I start to come in, I move back a couple steps a little bit, and then I'm going in 2 steps again and laying it up. Again, I'm not using my other hand to gather the ball. I'm just picking it up, maybe even lean the ball up against your body to get the gather of the basketball, and then go up and finish. You don't need to be able to palm the ball or anything for this. You just got to control it, and you got to practice it. It's not going to happen automatically. Next thing I'm going to do with the finishing series is do a little bit of a Euro step here. So left foot, right foot, and I'm going up under the basket and finishing on the right side with my left hand. And I'm jumping off the right foot. So it's left foot out, right foot in, and then I'm finishing here. Again, outside, inside, then finishing over the top, over my head, off the glass, working the angles again. Last thing is just going to do a couple full court dribbling drills. Again, left hand only. Dribble down the floor, then I'm going to come back up the floor. This could be a speed dribbling drill. You can do this for conditioning. If you just want to work on your speed, you want to work on your handle going at full speed without losing the ball. A lot of players ask me about that, handling the ball without losing it when you're going full speed. If you want to be able to do that, you got to practice at full speed. You want to play at full speed, you got to practice at full speed. There's no tricks to it. Now it's just a forward retro drill, so I'm going to dribble up the half court and I'm going to go backwards. Again, keeping that dribble on the left hand, I'm going to go full court and come back. You can do this as many times as you want. This is the complete ultimate left hand workout series. If you want to work on your left hand, or if you're left-handed, you want to work on your right hand, get that non-dominant hand right, put that other hand in your pocket, don't use it at all. This is it. Work on your game. Dre all day.